thanks for the. Where'd the preacher go? That was a pretty good opening, I thought. Back to the beginning, we visited, you know, South. I want to thank Phyllis Severance for all she's doing to help with our campaign, and Jane Chedister. You know, you give two good women the reins and things begin to happen. That's apparently what's going on. I'm so glad to see Sue Ashley. Ben was just, you know, we had a great relationship when I was governor. It was a little different then. We had a lot of Democrats down there then, but Ben knew how to work with them, and he was just great, and we got a lot done. And you know, South Knoxville's almost Blount County. You know, Kaz Walker used to say, half of them is Baptist and half of them are for Blount County. What he was talking about. But I guess this is Upper Blount County. I guess you might say that. And Coach and I were talking about my first cousin David. I had my Uncle Joe, my dad's brother, lived over here and sold cars. And his son David, well, I guess it was young, right? From South. He went to South then. He went to South, and in 1962, he was the statewide decathlon champion under expert coaching, right?
That's right.
So it's great. We're here today for Eddie, and I want to thank him and Mary. Lant. We talked to him ago, and I won't say what she told me. I thank her for allowing him to do this, because I know that it's difficult in the family. He's got other family members over here, his mom and other members. But let me thank Eddie for running, because I've been in and out of public life. I realized when I went to the United States Senate, I'd spend about half my time in private life and half in public. But I found the time that I was in the state government very, very satisfying, because I watched our state over the last 30 years really begin to go a lot in the right direction. And that's the time that the Republican Party has grown and gotten bigger and elected more members. We kept focusing on jobs, on schools, on roads, and people are moving into our state from all over the country. And they're moving into the Knoxville area and the Blount County area. I mean, you go out around this area, you find people who really love Tennessee, and they haven't been here for 6 generations or 5 generations, or like our family has. Well, that means that we have to have people like Eddie who are willing to go to Nashville, make the hard decisions, and support what we need, because to bring in the jobs, to make the schools better, and all those decisions should be made at home. So, Eddie, I congratulate you for running. You're doing exactly what you ought to do. And I thank you and to his family. Let me just say one word. I need to ask for your vote if you haven't already voted. I went down to the Farm Bureau, had a little meeting down here in Cookeville, and my opponent, who's from Knoxville, Gordon Ball, was there. And I pointed out a couple of times that there was a choice. You know, these Republican primaries, those are family discussions. And I was careful in the primary not to run one negative ad against any of my opponents, not to mention any of their names, because I knew I'd want to get the family back together after the primary was over. So I'm asking you, join me, because we have a real choice. My opponent is one more vote for Barack Obama's agenda.
Amen.
And I'm one more vote for a new Republican majority to lead our country in a more conservative direction. And I mean, you may have seen, he may not have any idea. He's a good lawyer. He'll try to fool you into thinking he's not what he is. But he copied a lot of the positions of the liberal Democratic senators and put them on the website as if they were his own. And I said, well, if he got elected, he'd just go up there and sit next to Harry Reid, and every time Harry Reid raised his hand, he'd raise his. Fact is, he wouldn't even have to go to Washington. He'd just let Harry Reid vote twice. That's all he'd have to do. So we don't need that. I mean, our country's in some trouble right now. Whether you're talking about the Islamic State or Ebola or the debt we've got, the state may be going in a good direction, the country's not. And the best way to begin to make a change is a Republican majority in the U.S. Senate, and that's what I'd like to ask you to help me do.
Well, feel free just to mingle around. We'll be here. Feel free to ask us any questions.